All right, looks like we've got quite a few people in now. So welcome everybody to the Skills Kickstart session on pricing and promotions. Your presenter today is Lori Hamill. My name is Jocelyn. I'm going to be your facilitator today. So any questions that you have, go ahead and throw them in that Q&A, and I'll make sure Lori gets to answer those for you. We will go ahead and get started. I'm going to pass off to Lori here to talk to you all about pricing and promotions.
All right, thanks, Jocelyn. So my name is Lori Hamill. I am the Customer Enablement Program Manager here at Encompass. I've been with the company for almost 4 years now, starting on the invoicing team when it was still invoicing before we moved over to order management systems. So I've got a lot of experience with pricing and promotions, as well as the implementation side of things, and helping new customers get started with it. So in this pricing and promotions basics course, we're going to talk about the very first things that you need to know and understand in order to be able to create and manage promotions effectively. So we'll talk about the difference between the product price and frontline pricing and how that sort of gets determined in Encompass. And then I also want to talk about the promotions data model. You know, we have a promotions record, we have subtable records to set up the who and the how. We have promotions products, the all products and lines features that allow us to attach the products to a promotion. All of this is in an effort to make sure that we get the right price to the right customer for the right product. And it's a pretty, it's an in-depth data model. It has some sophistication to it. So we'll talk about the nuance there. So in order to sort of get us started, I want to talk about the different kinds of promotions that we can create. So a frontline is really the first level of pricing for our customers. And, it is essentially that full price. If you're not using that kind of terminology, that's what we mean. It's that sort of baseline pricing. And it can be configured in a number of different ways. So we can have multiple front lines for, the same location. An example would be if I had a frontline price for some of my chain stores or my wholesale stores versus the frontline that I have for military. I'm in Colorado, so we do have military front lines that we see in different parts of the state versus some of the independents that I might see out there. What's their front line look like? If there's no negotiated pricing, what is my baseline that I'm setting for those cases? The next level that we would have, or the next type or group of promotion that we would have would be those discount and price promotions. And know that we can also do those based on a percentage, but this is really the only thing that we're able to stack with a frontline. A discount would be taking a dollar amount off of a frontline price, for example, whereas a price would be setting the desired selling price for the product. I might have a frontline, but then I'm setting a price, and that would be a different type of discount that doesn't necessarily get layered. The next promotion type that we see is a zero promotion type. We sell the product literally at $0. And while you may be thinking that is not the best business model, this is typically used for things like inventory adjustments or donations that we're giving out, samples. Those would be some of the reasons that we would have a zero promotion. It's so that the things in my inventory that I am not associating with any kind of price or sale, they still need to leave my inventory. And in order to do that, they have to be put on an invoice. And that's where we see this for sort of inventory adjustments, donations, and samples, is this is the process of moving it out of my inventory at a zero price. Free goods promotions. These are typically what we think of in the sort of BOGO family of promotions. You have a qualifying purchase, buy one, get one, like the true definition of BOGO. But this could be a buy 5, get 1, buy 10, get 2, whatever that is, those sort of free goods promotions, where you're giving away a unit based on a qualifying purchase of that unit quantity. And we can do this in a number of ways. We'll talk more about that when we get into actually creating a promotion. But, when we have that buy 5, get 1 free, I could say, of the 5 goods in this line, I need you to buy 2 different ones in order to qualify. Buying, flavor 1 and flavor 2 in order to get the free unit of flavor, whatever. Finally, the last promotion type that we see here are the at-cost promotions. And these are going to be the things that are, we're selling the product at the freight on board, laid in plus or minus tax. This is usually used for transfers between different locations or sales to other distributors. So when I think of when we would use this promotion is, in my demo site, my demo universe here, my fake data universe, I have 3 locations. And when I need to move product from the location in Colorado to the location in Kansas, I need to decide how it is I'm going to sell that to them. I'm not giving it away so that they can make profit on it. That's a great, I guess, model for them if I were, those margins are sound, but they're not sound for me at my location. So I need to sell them that product, but I'm not going to be making a profit at it. I'm going to sell it to them at the cost that I paid for it, plus the taxes or whatever other laid in cost I might have associated with it at this point. So those are the different promotions types. We're going to be focusing on the, I see most commonly frontline and that sort of discount or price promotion most frequently. And when we get into the system here in just a second, we're going to be creating a frontline price. So keep that in mind. We're not necessarily focusing on those other types in this session, but know that they exist. And we do have a dashboard, the promotions dashboard, that can tell you a little bit more in detail about what those are, so you can make the right decision for you. All right, so with that explanation in mind, I do want to talk about this promotions data model. So in Encompass, we use that sort of system of tables to create records. We see them on, rows and columns, and you would create a promotion and then underneath it attach certain related records in order to get us to that sort of magic combination of the right price for the right product to the right customer. All of those things come together in this promotion using a system of related records. So we create the promotion and we have some decisions to make. We can either, on the promotion, attach a market, and that market contains a collection of both promotion zones and promotion locations, so that when I'm setting up a promotion, I just select the one thing and move on to my products. Or the other part of it is that I can set directly on the promotion zones and the promotions locations so that I can see them right there. So it is a question of, you don't need to do both. It's one or the other, and they both get you to the same destination. It's a matter of how you want to do that. And we'll talk about some of the reasons why you might use one over the other. We do recommend this market pathway because it makes it easier to see once the promotion is created. If you're using clear naming conventions, then this market, a required field, comes through really clear. It's closer to what we might call a flat setup or a flat configuration. You can just see everything you need right on that top level promotion. Now, again, in this sort of other model, we, regardless of how we get them attached, the products have to get associated to the promotion. So they will always be associated directly to the promotion on the join of products and promotion come together here to create a single record. So that's what this data model kind of looks like. Now, I say or on the promotion zones or promotions customers because a promotion zone is a grouping of many different customers. Promotions customers would be like the onesie twosies. I see promotions customers being more used more heavily when we're talking about things like the 0 promotions for samples. If I have a nonprofit that I'm giving to, then I'm going to attach just that one customer to this samples promotion or that donations promotion so that they get $0 pricing. But I don't want that to be, there's no group for that. It's just this one customer that I'm doing that with versus, my wholesale frontline, for example, or my chain pricing or something like that. That is more likely to be a grouping of people who all have the same sort of business logic applied to them so that they get the same consistent pricing, something that's really predictable. So this is what that data model looks like. Now we're going to hop over into the system so that we can actually see what those tables and records look like when they come together. So popping into my demo site here, I'm going to navigate over to the promotions table. Now I'm doing this using universal search. I mentioned a moment ago that if you had some additional questions, the promotions setup dashboard can give you more information on the definitions of some of these different types of promotions, give you hints and tips. And then of course, we also always have help resources available to you. In this case, we're going to hop right into a promotion. Now, like with anything in Encompass, there's multiple ways to create this. From here, I'm going to just click on add promotions button, but I could also do an import. So, or copy an existing one. So I'm going to create it from scratch because it gives me the opportunity to talk about some of those fields from a different perspective. So when I click on add promotions, I'm brought into a familiar looking and feeling sort of space here. Now, starting with that promotion type, instead of a discount, I mentioned that I'm going to be creating a frontline. So I'm going to select that as my promotions type from this list that's available. Now, if you needed those definitions, like I said, you might go over into that dashboard to take a look at them, but I know I'm setting up a frontline, which is my baseline pricing. Now, I also want to have a market associated with this. This is a required field, and there's sort of two schools of thought. I can either have a market that doesn't have anything in it, and then I'm setting that information here in the promotion location and the promotion zone, or I'm setting that information in the market so that I only have to make one click upon this setup. And I'm going to take that route. What this relies on, though, is that I'm either going to set up a market now or I've already got one set up. So I'm going to put in my default market. Now, this is a common naming convention, but it doesn't necessarily indicate what is in that default market, and it's easy to make assumptions. One of the best things that you can do for yourself and for your system now and forever, always, is have clear naming conventions. I don't know if default really, unless I have intimate knowledge of the system, as a new person walking in, this doesn't indicate to me whether or not there are promotion zones or promotions locations set on this market. So this is maybe not actually the best one to choose. It could have some, it could have none, it could have a mix, but it's not clear. Some of my other naming conventions in here, I see a bunch of Red Bull stuff. And if you are familiar with Red Bull pricing, then those probably look pretty familiar to you. Let's go down to, here we go. I can see all customers is pretty clear name. I would hope that it includes all customers, but as I mentioned, I have 3 locations. So is it all customers in 3 different locations? I don't know. And then I have the names of some of my locations in here. I've got some chain store pricing. I'm going to set my Sterling location because that is going to indicate to me both the customers and the locations, the zone that should go here. So to me, that's very clear, but it may not necessarily be clear to everyone. I would hope that this would indicate something that is both the location and the customers. Is this Sterling independent? Those that are in the independent chain, for example, that don't get any kind of additional pricing bundles or something like that associated with them. To me, I know what this is. So it's clear enough to me upon setup. It's maybe a little harder to hand off to someone who's new. So if, say, I get promoted and I have to train someone on this, they can't tell at a glance what this is. And that's what I mean by a good, clear naming convention. So I think this could be improved, but it is clear enough for now. The next item that I see on this list is the line. So where market took care of the promotion zones and the promotion location from our data model, the line is where we could be taking care of the products that we're adding. So in that world of line versus promotions products, this would be where I would be hitting that line. And again, if you're familiar with some of that Red Bull pricing, then you are familiar with how lines work. You sort of create that grouping of products, putting them in a line, and then we would just attach them here. I'm not going to use the line. I'm actually going to use another method to put that in, but keep that in mind is that if you have already done the work to group products together then line is going to be the easiest way. I could have a whole promotion fully cooked, ready to go in minutes with very little labor on my part, and that is using manual creation. In this case, I'm going to skip it. So I want to give my promotion now its own very clear name. Like I said, I think that I can improve upon the market thing. So this is going to be the Sterling 2024. I'm going to create a specific promotion for a supplier. So I'm going to name it with that supplier here. That is Wind and Clouds, some of my lovely fake demo data. And with the abbreviation that I use in my site for Frontline, which is FL. So now I know that this is going to apply to Sterling customers in 2024 on Wind and Clouds, and it's my Frontline. And I can tell all of that based on that promotion name. Now I don't need to apply a condition here, but I do have to put in an amount. And I know that I'm going to be putting that on the promotions products when I add them. So setting up promotions is not just knowing what these fields are, but knowing where I need to take them. Knowing that I'm going to have another place to put an amount in. So I don't want to put it here. I have 4 different products that I'm going to be adding to this promotion, and I don't want them all to be the price the same. There are 2 seltzers and 2 beers in there, and I know that they have different pricing. So I'm going to put in a 0 for that. And that doesn't mean that they're getting $0 pricing. It just means that I'm not putting an amount in at the promotion level. I'll do that on each of the products. Now, this I think is where we would want to talk about that use of the line, is that in a line, I need to be thinking about where I'm going to put that. So all of my products in a line should be priced the same if I'm using that feature. I'm also going to put in $0 for participation. Wind and Clouds is not allowing for billbacks. They're not offering that participation for this one, so I'm going to put that in at $0. Now, my minimum purchase and minimum product count, these are where sort of the BOGO, the free goods discounts or the free goods are going to get applied. Let's say I had a minimum purchase set of 5. My minimum product count should then be set to 1, because of the 4 products that are on here, they only have to buy 1 of them in order to get that free good. That's what this combination of things would be saying. Now, because this is a Frontline, that is not a logical assumption. So I'm going to 0 both of those back out. My start date is another very, very important field. Now, you'll see start dates in a lot of different places in Encompass, but this is where we say that you are allowed to be a time traveler in a sense. This is what gives us that capability for your invoices. I think that on the admin sort of side of the house, if you have never had to reverse and correct an invoice, like, awesome for you. You will have to do that at some point. It's going to come up, and it's going to be these start and end dates that give us the ability to retroactively apply the correct pricing. So my start date for promotions will always be tomorrow. You know, it's not always going to be May 10th, but it is always going to be one day from today. So let's say I were retroactively setting this for January 1st. What this would mean is that any invoices that I went into reverse and correct from the start of the year until now, the pricing for this promotion would now be applied to them. So that start date is an important field. End date becomes an important field when you're doing that as well. If I know that this promotion or this Frontline is only going to run through the end of the year, then great. It makes it easy to set that end date now, but I don't always have the foresight of that. You know, sometimes a promotion is just run until it's done. So if you don't know the end date, or you know it will end at some point, leave that blank. It doesn't have to be filled in here. Now, this field next on gives my sales team the ability to sort of create some urgency about a particular promotion that we're running. So let's say a good example would be if I had a buy 5, get 1 free, and I know that I'm not going to be running that buy 5, get 1 free for another 6 months. Then my salesperson can say, "Ooh, you better capitalize on this now, because we're not going to be offering this again for 6 months." we don't always have the predictability to do that. So if you don't have a next on available, that's okay. Again, this is not a required field. It's something that you can leave blank. And I often see left blank, but so that you know what it is and what it does, that is for the predictability and transparency of allowing your team to be able to say with confidence, we're not, I don't have a next on date, you should buy this now, or this will be run next on, you know, whatever date you've entered here. Now, again, the next field that we see here, the salesman override also applies to salesmen. Who'd have thunk? Um, this is by default set to no override to. And what this means is that I, as an admin, as a full access user, have the ability to override to certain promotions on the server. But no override to would mean that my salesmen are not able to do that from Encompass Mobile. So they can't override to a better promotion that customer doesn't necessarily qualify for just on their own whim and fancy. Hopefully, by setting things up from the right market, using the line or promotions products, we're not needing to make those kinds of overrides, but I know that it happens. And do you want your salesman to be able to override to this promotion from a handheld? And that's where you would select one of the options here. Like I said, this is default no override to. We also have all rules, min num units met, or no override from. And I'm gonna leave that alone. Now, again, there's another default that's already set here, and it is the active. So if I were to set this to inactive, but I have a start date in the past, these are not fields that are necessarily related to each other. If I save this, this will not be active, but it will have a start date that seems like it's open. No one would be able to apply or use this promotion. So these things are not dependent. If I have this set to inactive and I had a future start date set, let's say we'll set this on June 1st, the expected behavior here is not that on June 1st, it will automatically set itself to active. It won't do that. It will not be active. You will not be able to use this promotion. So I'm going to leave this active, and I'm also going to go back to tomorrow for my start date. All right. The last field that I want to talk about here on the promotion level setup is this all products toggle. Now, I mentioned there are 3 ways to get products associated with a promotion. The first way that we saw and have already talked about is from a line. If I have lines set up, so super easy to just click them and select them here. They should have a clear and consistent naming convention, which is an organizational business decision that you should be making with this moment in mind. If you're using a line, you need to be setting an amount then, and it follows that the products in that line should be having the same amount associated. Now, if you're not doing things that way, the second option for setting products on a promotion is to use this all products toggle. Now, I would use this with caution. This is a frontline, so theoretically I could put all products on here, but let's take a look at what that would mean. So if I go into my products table here, I'm going to just look at all records. If I toggled on all products, that would mean that this front line is getting, oh goodness, 1,324 products associated with it. And that's on the one hand nice because I don't have to manually set 1,324 products here. But on the other hand, that doesn't give me a lot of agility to make inclusions or exclusions. Like it's just all or nothing. That's literally what this toggle would be, is nothing or all. All products true, all products false. And I know for my setup, for my front line, I mentioned those 4 products that I'm putting in this specific front line. So I'm going to leave this false. And with that, everything is set up. I've got my front line set. I know the market that I'm associating this with. I've got a line not identified here and a name. Everything is good to go. So I'm going to click on add record. And now it gives me all of those subtables. So when I say a flat setup, I've set a market, so I don't have to set a promotion zone. I don't have to set promotions locations. I have not set products here though, because I did not put a line on it and I did not select all products to be true. So I know I have to add my products. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And the easiest way to associate products with this promotion, because again, we're matching the promotion with the right products for the right customers. And I'll just do that right here, add promotions products, and it'll give me a very familiar search. Now, I know that I want all of the products in my wind and clouds supplier, and here they are. I've got these three things. So I'll save them. And now I have products associated to my promotion, but what you may have noticed is that I still don't have prices associated with it. Now, in this case, because it's three products, this is pretty stinking easy. If you have never seen the edit column feature, this is one of the things that I think that we in support use the most. Like, it is the calculator and edit column are like the favorite tricks of the trade, at least on my part. So I'm going to click on a column header, and then I have the ability to edit a column. When I click edit column, it opens that field in every single row. If I had 25 promotions products here, 25 would be being displayed. If I had selected to view 100 or had a filtered view that only showed 63, that is what exactly I would be seeing. But it gives me the ability now to go into this field and enter my promotion amount. And this 6-pence stout, just pretend I'm referencing this from somewhere and not just making it up on the fly. I've done the numbers, I've run the reports to see what kind of margin we should be having. So my front line is going to be set at, I'm selling this to customers at $23.99. And I'm going to do the same thing with that golden ale. So their pricing is pretty similar, but that pumpkin spice seltzer, that one is coming in at $19.95. So now I have the amount set for all of those things, and I'm going to click Save Changes. So what I would be expecting to see then is all of this pricing. If I add any of these products to any invoice for the customers who match on, we'll come back to this, the Sterling market, which has the promotion zone not set and promotion location of Sterling. If it matches on that Sterling location, then they should be added, but I'm already seeing a problem here. So I chose a market that indicated something to me that it would have my Sterling customers and the Sterling location, but it doesn't. I know I didn't set a promotion zone on my promotion, and I can see on this market, I also don't have a promotion zone. So I'm going to need to add one. I'm going to correct this now because I am here. And I want the and of course, I have this. Oh, here we go. I want my Pioneer, both of those, and I'm going to save changes. So I do have customers now who are associated with this. I was missing that one critical element. It's everybody that's in these two groupings is now going to have access to this pricing. So that is one of the risks, like I said, of using markets, is that if you think a naming convention is clear, be sure, name things well, and you won't run into this problem. Otherwise, the customer I'm about to use to create an invoice wouldn't have gotten the correct promotion. So let me go back then to our promotion. I'm going to add those default subtables again. So you guys just watched me add a promotion zone, but not to this promotion specifically. We added it to the market. So I don't have to have it here. Now, to get the right price to the right customer at the right time, I have already added the right product and I've added those prices. I always have to have a location associated with it, and that will either come through the market or It will be added on this promotion location. And then from there, it is a process of saying, I either am going to use promotion zones or I'm going to use promotions customers. I could mix the two. I could add a zone and then onesie twosie add customers. That's not necessarily the most consistent and predictable way, but it would get the job done. In this case, in lieu of adding promotion zones, promotions locations, or promotions customers, I did that through the market. So I don't have to add them here and add more sort of visual stuff to this screen. I did that through the market. So I have created a promotion, a frontline, with a start date of tomorrow. I have associated customers, I'm sorry, the promotion zone, the promotion location, and products that are going to go on it. Now let's see what that looks like. So I'm going to go over to one of my favorite test customers. Guys, I feel like this name probably ages me. I'm not going to lie. I know that that's true. If you watched a certain show, Booze Clues is not a real customer, but here we are. So it is from here that I find it easiest to be able to make an invoice for them. And let's just go into, it looks like those are all closed. I want to add a scheduled, we're going to go add invoice. And I know that my pricing doesn't start until tomorrow. So let's say that it's for Monday and that this is part of their next scheduled delivery. I'm going to add this invoice. And when I go in to add those products, I want to see the pricing that's going to come through here. Oop, that's not how you spell wind. That's still not. It's always when people are watching that I have the hardest time typing. I don't know if that comes through for you guys, but here is the pricing that we see. So $23.99 is what I set on those promotions products for the Golden Ale and the Sixpence Stout. If I add 1 unit of each of these, then when I go to the pricing calculator, this is what I'm going to see. Now, my last product was a pumpkin spice seltzer, and it is May 9th. So one of the features of this product is that it is a seasonal product. I'm not going to add it to this invoice because I can't add it to this invoice because it's not in season. So features that we are not necessarily talking about right now, but we can see coming to life in front of us. I do still see this promotion, or I see the correct pricing that I want. So I'm going to save this, confirm, and now I've got it added to the invoice and I can see it in the pricing calculator. Now, if you are not familiar with this type of invoice view, if you are more used to the other invoice view, know that I'm in the beta for how we have revamped this page. So let's revert it to the original. If this is what you're used to seeing, our pricing calculator is located here. I can just click right on that link. But I do want to show you in the new version where we are also finding that information, because I think this is such a clean, easy, nice view. So I can see that my price came through at $23.99. There's no discounts associated with it. If I click on this product, now I can see the detailed information about it. I can see that this product is only in this front line. There's no other promotions that I could override to for this product. And looks like the same. Oh, no, this does have different pricing associated with it. Now, what I'm going to call out about some of this pricing, and this is a good example, is that I've got the lowest price applied. The system will always, always find the lowest price for this product, whether that's a front line, whether that is, those price or discount or anything else that they can qualify for. It makes sense that this would not go in the Arrowhead or Dodge City front lines, because that's not where this customer is. The customer does not qualify because they are not in the promotion zone or promotions customers. But it is showing here because there's a match on that sort of location. Now, I could, because I have the permissions, override to certain things. Like I could apply this pricing. This is way more expensive, and that's not correct. They're going to get this front line that I just created. It already applied because it is the lowest price. All right. So what we've done, just to recap, is we created a frontline promotion and we set some of that initial data. I did set a market on it, and I did not need to set a price, but I named it and set my start and end dates, activated it, etc. From there, I added promotions products to that, but I did not add the promotion zone, promotion location, or promotions customers, because that is what was added from the market. And now I'm expecting that any invoices created between May 10th of this year and the end of the year, December 31st, will have this pricing associated with it if they apply to those conditions. Always have to match on the zone. You can decide whether you're using zones or customers to attach or to associate customers to a promotion. And you can decide whether or not you're doing that through a market or from these subtable records. So that's what we've done here today with this promotion. All right. Whew, that's a mouthful. Okay.
Lori, we do have one quick question before we go into the pros and cons here.
Great.
The question is, when I have only one or two items that need to have a future frontline change, what is the best way to implement them?
Great question. I think it depends. This is where a lot of that nuance comes into play, right? So as I'm looking at this front line and I see my promotions products associated with it, what I would probably do is, it depends on how you want to have that organized, but I do have a start and end date. No, never mind. My apologies. I think the easier way to, oh gosh, of course, my toolbar got aggressive there and it opened something I did not need. What I would probably do with that would be to copy this promotion. I think that this is such a simple way to make those kind of changes. If I copy the promotion, then I can say that this is now for 2025, or if this is for July, again, I'm staying with this consistent naming convention so that people can see what those changes are. I'm going to say that this is July 1 to end of July. And I'm setting these dates at the promotion level, and you just saw how those start and end dates carried through on the promotions product. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this record, and notice this very bottom thing down here at the bottom, subtables to copy. I'm copying those 3 promotions products that are on there. And when I go to view these new records, now these promotions products have the correct start and end date on them, but I can change my amount. So let's say this is going down to $22.99, $22.99, and let's say that this is in season, then we're taking another $1 off. What I am expecting is that in these promotions products, for whatever date range I need to adjust for, these are being pulled out, and that pricing would change for the month of July only. So that's how you might manage the sort of changes to that. If you're using a line, it'll be the same logic, but I really like the copy feature for a promotion. I just think it makes things so easy to manage. Now, the other option is also that you import this. So let's say it is more than just 3. Let's say it's 100. I don't want to go through and manually edit a column like this of 100 different prices. I've probably already got that in a report somewhere. It is very easy to copy the promotion and then update it, or import those promotions products to the promotion to get that pricing in. So those are the 2 ways that I might handle something like that. But I usually ask myself, is it easier for me to do an import to either create or update something than it is for me to manually edit this? And in my opinion, this is just my opinion, is that to me that line is about 30. Um, I I'm okay clicking in. It's annoying to click in 25 different line items and manually change them, but it's doable. And that is the less effort route, in my opinion, than that import where I create the report and I match the product ID and I match the promotion ID and I, do all of these things to set up an import that I then run. So that's the long answer to that question is you can import. The short answer to that question is I like to copy. If it's a small enough number, I'll manually edit. Hope that helps. All right. Anything else, Jazzy, before I move on to sort of the case for markets and lines?
Nothing so far.
All right. So in the past, I think Encompass has done a great job of giving you these options of like looking at this promotions data model and being like, the world's your oyster. Do what you please. What feels right to you? And that is true. This is a very flexible data model, and we have done that with intention so that things like importing that Red Bull pricing that they send over is super easy. It's just boom, 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 and she's done. But that doesn't necessarily enable the best consistency. So what I'm going to say to you now is I do think that using market is the recommended path, and I like it for a couple of reasons. I'm going to come back to my pros and cons. I think that it makes things so easy. In our setup, I set that sterling market and it didn't have what I needed in it. And that was because of the con that it requires or it relies on consistency, a clear plan, and clear naming conventions above all. But when those things are in place, both manual creation and import of promotion, so easy because I can tell at a glance. I have that something closer to a flat setup where I look across the promotion. And let me go to my promotions table here. I can look across a promotion and see exactly who is getting what. Like I know what non-VIP means. Default in this instance, you guys, it actually means nothing. That means that there's no promotion zone or promotion location set on here. But like I only know that because I am familiar with this system. This is not a great naming convention. So in the case for market, you have to have this kind of clarity in order to achieve what you're aiming for here. But it is a lot easier once you do have that. And it means that you can assess promotions at a glance. So I can just look across this table and say, oh, I can see what the problem here is. You're using the default market instead of that sterling market that has the characteristics that I want about it. I can make this change. I don't have to do 1,000 clicks to find it. But in that other model, let's go to let's see, it was either one of these guys. If I have a problem with them, this is much harder to diagnose why those products or why those customers are not getting the right promotion applied to them. I have to click into it, and then I can see the subtable records. And let's say I did not correct that market issue. I would then need to add promotion zones in order to add there we go. Add the correct promo zones to this promotion in order to make that change. But even then, I would still need to click through and find what those customers' promotion zones are to see who all of these people are that are in it. So it means that it is a multi-click troubleshooting experience. I think that is the risk that you take. But again, if you're setting them up well, hopefully there's less troubleshooting to do. And we can then tell at a glance what is in this promotion. We can see that really clearly directly from the promotions table instead of having to make 100 click-throughs. So that's why I would like to use markets and lines where possible. I think it makes it easier to see later on, but there is some setup and consistency and a plan involved. It not to be glib about like, we do things on the fly a lot. not necessarily we as a company, but a new promotion comes through and you need to be able to apply it like that. And if you don't already have a line set up for it, then the burden of setting up a line so that you can set up a promotion, I can see how that would not be the best path forward. But I do feel that way very strongly about markets. So that is the recommended path. All right. Key takeaways for this session is that a structured setup ensures accuracy later on. That, all of this data model and its complexity and nuance gives you the ability to make these certain decisions at the business level, so that you are maximizing your revenue and profitability. We can create those on the fly promotions. They get applied consistently. We have the predictability of being able to know that they're there and nobody has to override, including me or the sales team that are out there in the field. Those clear naming conventions really promote everything about your system. It facilitates easier tracking and analysis. It means that we're all speaking in apples to apples language. And this sophisticated data model does allow for dynamic adjustments. Mostly it's here to empower you to be able to adapt to those market changes with agility. You can make the changes that you need on the fly, push them out, and with the simple sync of Encompass Mobile, they're in the hands of your entire sales team. So you're able to flow with those things as needed. All right. Thank you, everybody, so much for your time. I'm going to stick around for any last questions that may be coming through, but I'm going to leave you with these key takeaways. So, Jazzy, did we have any questions?
We do. Is there anything else dependent on markets to be aware of when setting it on a promotion record? For example, EDI pricing.
That's a great question. So I don't know. I don't know that this is a promotions basics question. So for those of you who are using, it sounds to me like you're using price posting from EDI. So if you're doing price posting to, I see it very commonly with someone like 7-Eleven, and I don't know if that's your exact scenario, but if you're doing price posting with someone like 7-Eleven, I would make sure that you're it has to be in alignment. So if you're sending monthly and weekly price postings out, then I would create a market that excludes 7-Eleven. And that's where those sort of naming conventions come in. Is this my non-chain? Is this my independence? Is this my on-premise independence? So give that market a name that indicates very clearly who they are, and then make sure that if you are adhering to price posting, like you have to, like you are required to for some of those chains when you're sending them out via EDI, that pricing is consistent. I would hope, and I don't know this, but if the system is always seeking to find the lowest price, hopefully their pricing it is the lowest. I don't know. But make sure that your market includes promotion zones that exclude actively that group of people that you are doing price posting for, and name it so that it is very crystal clear that it would not interfere with any of that price posting. And I probably wouldn't name it like non-price posting market, but I would name it who they are, not who they are not. Independent on-premise market. I don't know. The Sterling independent on-premise market would be more clear for me in my naming convention. So those would be the things that I would be aware of there. It's not necessarily a gotcha, but EDI and price posting adds layers right in there, doesn't it?
Another question for you, Lori. Can custom fields be used with promotions?
Oh, I think that we had a custom field. Let me take a look. Anywhere that you'll be able to create custom fields, let's take a look on the table map. I don't know that I've ever tried to create a custom field on the promotion or any of these join tables. But let's take a look. So I want to go to the table map, and I'm going to go to promotions and map that table. Let's see. I want to edit. And yeah, it does look like I have the ability to create those custom fields here. So I'm able to do that on the promotions table. If I were a betting woman, I would say that let's look at promotions products just because we can. And yeah, all right. So because this is what's known as a join table, without going too far down the rabbit hole on what our relational databases encompasses a relational database, we use a system of tables to sort of create this map of related records in here. And promotions products is a join. I have a promotions table, I have a products table, and without interfering with either of those records, I pull them together so that I can create a different kind of relationship between promotions and products. And that's what this is. So because it's a join table, we don't have the ability to add those kind of custom fields to it, but certainly on promotions, just like you would on products.
Don't have any other questions so far.
All right.
We'll give
Well,
everybody a couple minutes here to throw those in. But thank you, Lori, for presenting for us today and everybody for coming.
yeah.
Looks like we did have one more come through here really quick.
Uh-huh.
Is there a way to quickly import a spreadsheet with a large number of pricing changes? I'll let Lori take this. This might go down another rabbit hole.
Yes. Yes, the short answer is yes. We would use an import routine for that, and we would set that import routine to either add only or update only. Or I guess we could do update or add. There's a variety of things you can do here. This is not the session that we're going to be running an import routine. I will, however, hype the tips and tools session that we're doing at BevAge. So whoever asked this question, I really am excited for BevAge because Griffin Norwesh and myself are going to be doing the tips and tools for managing pricing and promotions. And that is where we'll talk a little bit more about doing imports. So I leave you with these final thoughts. Information on import routines, table import guide, table import scheduling, all of that can be found here in help resources. I would go to Bev and ask Bev for help with this. She's going to be a great resource, our AI assistant, to talk you through it. But we will also have all of that information available for promotions as well. So above, beyond, around, adjacent, however you want to think about it, you use the help resources in the upper right corner of the page here to find more information about pricing and promotions, or ask Bev. Those are two tools that are ready and available. We will be putting the recording of this session up on the recording archive as well. So take a look if you want to rewatch it or hype it among your own community. But I do look forward to seeing you guys all again at BevAge, where we talk about the 201 level to this encompass or the basics session. So we're going beyond the basics there. Very exciting.
I don't see any other questions for you, Lori. So thanks everybody for joining us today. Once we end the session here, you will get a pop-up for a survey. We'd love to hear your feedback and any other suggestions you have for sessions you'd like to see. But thanks everybody for joining us today. Thank you, Lori, for giving us all the wonderful pricing and promotion knowledge. Thanks everybody. Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks. Bye.